Had the car at all times. Welcome to the Pirate Broadcast, where we interview interesting people doing interesting things, where you can expand your connections, your community. Kindness is cool and smiles are free. And let's get this party started. We're here. We're rocking out on the Pirate Broadcast, and I just want to welcome Charlene and welcome Carl into the room. Hope we're going to have a great time and hopefully entertain you and have an entertaining and educational experience, because you all rock and kindness is cool and smiles are free. And I want you to ask questions, dive in at any time. Gabe says hello. All right, Gabe, first one in the house.
What's up, Gabe? What's
Thank
up
you for being here. I just want to give a shout out to Gabe. He's doing some great work out there. If you haven't connected with Gabe, you got to connect with Gabe. He's becoming a master of all things live streaming.
All things.
Hashtag live LinkedIn live streams.
Yes.
So I just want to make sure that you're aware that
he's the
you
man.
need to get connected out here. So welcome, you guys. I'm excited for this event, and we were talking before the show about showing up on LinkedIn, being present, engaging. And Carl, you said you had some thoughts, and I said, time out. I want you to hold those thoughts until we go live. So Carl, take it away.
Yeah, I did have times. I did have thoughts on it. As far as showing up, and I'm really realizing that in showing up, there is a whole lot of different areas that covers, right? A lot of times we think about showing up, trying to be there for someone else. Yes, that's a part of it. It's also being there for yourself. I talked to a couple of people earlier today, and they was like, they just didn't want to show up for the things that they had to do. So we encompass that with being there, being present. But I mean, showing up online is becoming really, how should I put it? It's becoming really hard to do. I know we were just discussing about you having other things to do, right? You have your personal life, you have maybe family. If you're married, you got a spouse, kids, you got kids. It's like if you're doing this and you're working another job, and this is your, I hate to use the term side hustle, but this is another occupation that you're doing. Like, how do you kind of like balance it? Balance is the correct word of all of those different things. And when do you feel like you're neglecting some things? And I think it's my real take on it is that you have to do what you feel and what's comfortable for you. Because sometimes I come on here and I don't do anything all day, like such as today. I don't even think I posted anything today. I was busy with a couple of panels and I was in other rooms and I was doing other things. I jumped on other people's lives because I want to be a great participant of that and showing others I support. But I didn't feel bad, but I had a couple of people did me like, yo, I ain't see nothing from you today. Yo, I didn't, I normally see a vulnerability post. You took the day off and, so it does weigh on you, but I think it's all encompassed of how you really deal with it. Because when it's all said and done, the self-care is important. And what we're really doing with ourselves, it keeps us the ability to be able to be at that max for whomever we're trying to service, right? So if I'm on here trying to put up 50 million posts, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, and it can really get to be a lot. It really can.
Well, and I think the key benefit is when you show up, just like what we are doing right now, we're present with what we're doing right now. And I just want to give a shout out to David Wilson. David, thanks for joining us. He's showing up. Gabe is showing up, and he was asking, so is the virtual background feature available yet?
I don't know, Gabe. We'll find out from you next week.
We'll have to check it out. Michael Baker in from Florida, live with Russ Johns. Thank you so much for everyone joining in. And I have full transparency. We were on a show with Gabe with I was trying to think of who the show was with.
See, don't do us like that, Russ. We're going to leave a lasting impression.
Yeah. But my point is that you have to participate in order to acquire a lot of audience. And I don't know, my goal is to help more people. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's a balance, like you said. I fall out of balance all the time. Sometimes I'm really focusing on one thing, and I drop the ball on other things. And that's, to me, life. I gravitate towards the things I like. I delegate the things I don't like as much as possible, and we still have to deal with it. What about you, Charlene? What's your word on this
I think it's
subject?
also a perspective because I'll take, for
Mm,
instance, I'll take Prince, a musician. Most times people see him on stage, they see him on an interview, whatever. He's showing up for his fans and he's doing his thing, right?
yep.
But when he passed away, a lot of people who didn't know or were not diehard fans of his started to realize that Prince was also helping others. So he was writing other people's number one hits for them. He
Yeah.
was showing up in other ways, not just for his community, but for other people's community and helping them show up for their own communities. So I
Yeah.
think if we just look at it differently on for what we do as business owners, you don't have to just be always posting. I don't think you have to constantly post something, but if you're showing up and you're commenting on someone else's post, you're engaging with someone else's video, you're showing them that, hey, I see you too because you support me, that goes a long way as well. So you don't
Mm.
always have to be in the spotlight. The backstage is good too. If you're back there helping people out, that goes a long way as well. That helps create a footprint for you too.
You know, it's a blend. Uh,
Hmm.
and I think we're also the other end of the spectrum. And I want to get consensus on this is that we're used to receiving spam mail. It used to back in a few years ago, a while ago, it was exciting to get mail because it was a new thing. And then all of a
Hmm.
sudden, the marketers got a hold of it, and like saying goes, eventually marketers ruin everything. And so
Same with
then we
text
started
message.
then we started receiving spam, and that's kind of how it feels in the messaging, like we were talking about.
Hmm.
Getting these instant requests. You connect with somebody, they look okay. It's like, okay, I'm going to add somebody to my community, figure
Right.
out how I can help and add value, and then all of a sudden they come back with a novel of how they can sell me services or Bitcoin or whatever
Exactly.
happens to be, and it's not a relationship building exercise,
Right.
and
They get it wrong.
they get it wrong. And expand on that. What's a better way of doing it, Charlene? Because I think you got some tips on this.
Because I've been learning myself. I did, but I wasn't selling people. I just wasn't selling. So I got it wrong another way. But I mean,
Yeah,
it's more of, hey, if you need help, just let me know. I'm here to help and I'll help you any way I can. You just reach out to them that way. That's one way. And then when you start to get notifications, it can be hectic, especially as you're growing, especially on a platform like LinkedIn. It's not really organized, I would say, where
yeah,
you can tell quickly what is what. So you're going to get a ton of stuff. So to go quickly through things and hit people up and maybe even make a list of people you haven't seen in a while. Once they start to pop up again, you can go quickly to them and say, oh, wow, great content. Read it maybe because some people don't even read what you post.
yeah,
But read it, watch the video, comment, and just giving touches, light touches here and there. It doesn't have to be an all day affair.
yeah,
I can say I definitely learned from Carl. I've learned from Rob. I've seen a lot of my people in my community, Deanna, they're always commenting. I'm like, well, how you got all that time? And they're just
yeah,
like, I just map out 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes in the afternoon, 15 minutes at night. I tap on people and I'm out. I'm like, oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
But me, I'm just like, oh, okay, let me think about it. I'll get back to this post. I gotta and
yeah,
people always laugh at me, but I feel crazy just saying great job or amazing post because
yeah,
you send 17 amazings in one. It's like, how genuine is this amazing?
yeah, yeah,
So it's a mix, definitely.
yeah. How do you maintain connections, Carl? What's
Uh,
your secret?
Intentionally, I
Mm,
after the pandemic after the pandemic came, and I decided that this was going to be a platform that I use. I did it in stages. I had about 1,000 or so followers before. Just mind you, I was on LinkedIn 2008. So 2008 to 2019, I only had about 1,000 people. I wasn't really an active participant. I used it as a CV, which everyone pretty much did. I looked on Monday and Wednesday. I looked at jobs and I posted something. And then Friday, I would come back to see if anybody interacted. And that's how I did from 2008 to 2019. But when the pandemic hit and I wanted to change some of the things that I did and the ideas that I had, then I went on a rage of numbers till I got to about 5,000.
Mm-hmm.
And once I did that, after 5,000, everybody was strategically and intentionally put on my list. After that, I started
You use
going
that
through.
strategery.
Yeah,
Strategery.
strategy. I mean, I do that because I'm kind of like a systems guy, and not systems like you guys know systems, but I do everything in systems, so I kind of keep up with things like that. And it's important to me to know people. I live to know people, right? So I'm a people
Right.
person. So every person that I've ever gotten involved with to the extent past that, it's been Zoom related. It's been intentional. I can bring up stories concerning them. I'm kind of like a data bank on that night. And that's how I just build from there. And I think it's an intentionalness that we have because it can become a whole lot. When I go on somebody, I have one person post a poster. It's a gentleman from the UK. And every single post that we're in this network together that we share posts, every single post that I put in there, regardless of whatever the magnitude of the information I've shared, it's always awesome share from this guy. And to me, I looked on other posts and I said, yo, they got to be more than awesome, dude. I'm giving you some stuff here, right? I look on other posts and he's done that on everybody's post. So I don't take it personal. That's his way of communicating.
Don't take it personal.
Right. That's the way you communicating as awesome share. And I say, okay, well, if I'm awesome share and the person be on, they have a book and they're awesome share, and then somebody have a photo, it's awesome share. Then I guess our stuff is awesome because he's told us. But I think, like Charlene said, the basis of doing it, it can be overwhelming. I think Rob just put in there that he doesn't sleep. But we've talked about this systematically. In the morning when I get up, I scroll through notifications after my prayer and kind of get my mind together. I scroll through notifications. And then I go into my groups that have hit my stuff overnight and I hit them. That's 15, 20 minutes in the morning. Then when I come through, maybe after lunch or a few calls with class in the afternoon, I do another 15. And before you know it, you do that. And then you pretty much got your rotation in check. And she made a good point as well about your friends, the connections. I go top half for about a month and a half, and then I go bottom half for about a month and a half. So that's how I split my actual connections up too. I was like, oh, I ain't heard from you in a while. Yeah,
I talked to somebody the other day that they actually bookmark they have bookmarks in their browser for the links to their posts.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
So they go through that, and it's super simple. You can go quickly through, check in on posts for your groups and your crew, and people you want to stay in contact with and check in with, and there's always ways that we can do this. And I want to ask the community here. Everybody's showing up. Kenneth is in the house. Robert Barry,
behave, Kenneth.
Yes.
And Rob asked about the Jesus. He wants to bring him back, Rob.
Jesus. Oh, what happened to Jesus?
Bring him back. Rob. I'm in another part of the domain, man. You like my Jesus, Rob? I appreciate that, Rob. I appreciate that.
That's
awesome coming from you.
The three musketeers together sharing their delectable thoughts of wisdom with us tonight.
Thank you, Kenneth.
Thanks, KDJ. Appreciate it, man.
Jordan in the house. Thank you so much, Jordan. Love you, man. Michael Baker. No one gets through this life alone. We all depend on others, and it takes a community to raise a child. Absolutely, positively. Yeah. Robert Barry says, Gabe, what's going on, brother? So we got a lot of conversation going on here, and I just want to make sure that everybody, if you have any questions, if you have anything that you're asking or in the back of your mind, bring it to the front, type it out, and let's start the conversation, because there's a lot of opportunity here to awesome, savor the flavor of that awesomeness in that. Yes. Love it. Paul's in the house. Paul,
Nice.
Google, YouTube, Facebook. Yep. Irina and Paul. There's Paul, Gabe, Irina's loving vibes. Thank you so much. I want to shift gears a little bit because I know that LinkedIn is one place that we hang out, and I love LinkedIn, and I love live streaming as well. And both of you are in the live streaming community. And so, what has it done to benefit your business, your life, your conversations, and your relationships? I want to kind of dive into that because we're moving into a space where creativity, connectivity, and relationships are evolving. And I think live streaming and getting on video is a big component of what the future is going to look like. So I want to kind of bring that out in the open and find out what has changed for you personally, and what do you see continuing to evolve? Charlene, what do you think?
Well, I've definitely seen the value of video and having you can really touch more people quickly, and they start to join conversations like this and really start to learn your personality. And
Mhm.
especially if you, like how Carl and I always talk about, you want to build that credibility, right? So if you're doing that and you're on someone's show, you're being vulnerable there, you're not putting up any pretenses, it's just you. The more times that you're doing that consistently, people start to say, yes, that is you. You haven't changed. You're not tap dancing on one show. You're not you're not doing playing the guitar on another, and you're using a European accent on another. You are you, right?
Yeah.
People do that. People pretend to be
Yeah.
something based on who they're talking to.
That's
But we have, and I think it's also because we've gotten so comfortable and we've found a nice community that supports who we are. We're comfortable to just be us at all times. It's not like, I don't know what you guys are going to say. I'm going to be silent. I'll let you, it's not like that. So I think the support of the community, making sure that you're always just you and relaxed as much
Yeah.
as possible, because being on lives with Carl has allowed me to continuously be consistent and be comfortable and get comfortable, because I did not like being on video at all. You could ask them. We were in a group together, and I wouldn't turn my camera on, but it was a small group, and I'm like, I'll talk to y'all. I can hear y'all. Y'all can hear me. But the live shows were just a different dynamic. Like, everybody knows things fail. Everybody gave you that grace to have things fail on you, have people not show or whatever it can be, or maybe you were supposed to go and the show went long, so you're a no show on someone else's. So it's like you all have that understanding. Like, look, this is going to happen. Now let's come together so we can talk each other through this, because it's a big beast after a while, especially when you start to grow in
Yeah.
viewers and stuff like that.
Yeah. It's so true. It's so true. I want to jump in here because before you take over,
absolutely.
I want to be able to mention this because
Absolutely.
Irina is doing her first LinkedIn Live Friday. Okay, congrats.
Woo,
All right,
congrats.
congratulations.
I
Another
will
one
be
on board.
there. I will be there.
And I just want to also invest a little bit of time in David's question. What do you
Mhm.
say to a young person that is not on LinkedIn? And I have some thoughts, but with those two conversations going, I want to kind of dive into this. Like you're talking to Charlene, is like show up at who you are and what you're doing, and that's the
Mhm.
best advice. Keep it simple. Don't worry about the small stuff because
That's it.
it's all small stuff.
Mhm.
And the reality is that we can, if we're not showing up someplace, what are we doing? So expand on that, Carl.
That's absolutely it in a nutshell. And what Charlene has said has really been a profound thing to me. I'm a people person from the door, so me interacting with people in this kind of capacity is something that I love and thrive on. Anyway, the
Mhm.
only thing that I had that was really the biggest difference was actually doing it through the means that we are. Because on my jobs and in my doing trainings and workshops, I was interacting with people all the time. So that was a part of what I did, but it was on a face-to-face group kind of conference kind of level. And I
Right.
was very comfortable with that. And I think what I had to bridge the gap, I had to do the comfortability of looking into a screen and still being able to present the things that I know to present. And that took some time. Actually, the first video I said this before. It's just like 44 takes, I think it was, and just 40. And I never deleted those.
Oh, only
I just
44.
kept doing it. Like there was one was like six seconds, one was like a minute. So I was saying it, and trying to get off of what I was trying to say for this first particular post, and it did not work. And at 45, I was pressured, and I did not have it, and I had a 7 o'clock deadline, which this group I was in working with, and I said, okay, you know what, 45, here it is. So I did it. I stumbled, I stammered, I wasn't in the light, stuttered. I didn't even half make sense of what I was really trying to articulate. And that became one of my highest grossing posts, right? I don't know if people watched it just for the laughs or the comments, but I mean, I really did that. And to this day, I still have those 44 takes on my phone, because what that is just giving me a history of where I've come from. And I
It's a
look at it,
teacher.
yes,
Yeah.
It's
and
a
I look at it
teacher.
now, and I look at it now, and I'm like, it's a joke thing for me, and I look at it and I laugh. But there's points and places in each one of those videos where I take how I'm looking, how I'm standing, where I'm looking, how I'm holding, that I really took a criticism from and learned from. So I look at it as us talking and us communicating has just really bridged the gap to the distance. It has
Mm-hmm.
given us opportunity to create friendships and touch humanity with places that we probably could not have gotten to. And
Yeah.
even in
Yep.
the essence of us having financial means, and we're in, I'm in groups and stuff with millionaires and billionaires. I can never go to their offices and sit at their tables, but here
Okay.
they are in rooms and clubhouses and all these kind of dynamics with me sharing information. That's usually for the good old boys club. I'll just be honest with you. I don't have any ass. I don't have anywhere with that. But now I feel like I'm in a Hamilton play and I'm in the room where it happens. So it's all it's all a good thing, man. And to
Yeah.
Yes.
jump on Wilson's thing, I do that with kids all day. I mentor kids at the university that I work at, and I tell them all the time, get on LinkedIn for the essence of not so much it. I know you spend a lot of time on these other social media sites to build your picture taking, where you're taking food at, what your plate look like, all of that. But get on
Mm-hmm.
LinkedIn to build your professionalness. Not that it's a professional site, but you have a lot of professional people on there. And if they
Mhm.
can see you in all kind of realms, you'll be a better candidate than the one they have in front of them with the CV, and they're trying to really realize what kind of person this is. So I do think it being young, you should be on. My son has one, he's 22. My daughter has one, she's 25. And I made them get one a long time ago when they was in high school. So
Yeah.
now they've updated it.
Yeah.
It's a place of reference and it's a good deal.
I really have to endorse that, because the relationships that you can build through this
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
community are by far the strongest and the most reliable way of doing business. All my revenue right now is generated through relationships.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the last
Yeah.
6 decades have been, my relationships have got me in the door. It's never
Mm-hmm.
been my resume, because my resume is not that great. It has lots of experience in a lot of different areas, and
Mhm.
I've learned through that process. And kids growing up and people that need to build their brand, their presence online,
Mhm.
and LinkedIn is the best place to do it. So I love that
And
opportunity.
I also wanted to jump in with that too,
Yeah.
because especially as a creative, I didn't know or feel like LinkedIn was a fit for me. I didn't feel like I fit in.
Mm.
So it was just even up to what last year, I didn't know how to really explain what web design was. Everybody was like, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Instagram. And I'm like, okay. So the more that you start to talk to people, start to demonstrate what you do, I think LinkedIn was a better fit, LinkedIn started to show itself as a
Yeah.
better fit,
Mhm.
because now you have people who are serious about their business, but they probably never thought about something on the creative side, like, oh, that's how I can make my brand stand out. Oh, that's what branding is. Oh, that's what web design is for. So when you started to put it in the perspective of bringing it down to the reality of it, I think kids it, they're not just children anymore. They're now entering the field of business, or they want to launch their own business. They don't want to work for someone else. There's a lot of millennials who just don't want to work for anyone else. LinkedIn is an awesome platform to now showcase yourself, so then people can start seeing you in action, and then you're just building your resume, you're building that portfolio without even trying. So you have a lot of heavy hitters who are watching you without you having to now hit the pavement, beg somebody for an interview. You're pretty much doing your interviews on LinkedIn through your lives.
Yeah. And to that point, I think that's a great point. And also, for someone that is not as experienced in life, and they're not really sure where they want to end up, just imagine the beautiful opportunities you can create by interviewing people in an industry that you may be curious about. Maybe you don't even know anything about it. Maybe you want to discover something about it and interview somebody that is in that industry and say, well, what's the industry like? What does it take to get there? What is it? Ask questions about it. Be curious. And I think for David's point, it's really important for individuals any age, if you're thinking about moving forward on a career or any kind of endeavor, interview people and talk to them and ask questions and say, well, what's this all about, and how can I improve my chances of being in the industry, or how should I position my skill set, my information, because there's tons of opportunity out there right now, and it's really important for people to understand that showing up is the biggest part of that.
Yeah,
99% of it is showing up, being present. So thank you for sharing that. I want to also, I came back here, Gabe, just FYI, starring comments has not shown up yet for me in StreamYard. So, but I wanted to make sure that we catch this before I get too far away. He wanted to ask about building a website worth investing in a website opposed to a template service like Squarespace or Wix. The first site I built was on, it wasn't on Wix. It was on, I can't even think of it now, but GoDaddy bought it. I have to
I think I know what you're saying. It's in my mind, but I can't say.
Yeah,
it. It's not meant to be called. Yeah, it wasn't meant to be called. It's the site that shall not be named.
Yes.
Oh wow.
It's the Baltimore website. Yes.
Oh,
but I know what your position is, and I agree with your position, and I want to hear your expansion on the topic.
Because I'm going to say that, yes, it's going to be worth it to invest in a custom site. But this is the trick that I think people overthink web design, and they don't understand. The value is not just in the design. It's really in your planning. So if you're planning out what you want, what is your goal for your business? What is your goal for your quarter? And then where do you want to see your business? Because your website should always be growing and changing with your goals. Yeah. So the templates, you can start a template on any platform. The key to customization is being able to use that foundation and build on it, just like a graphic designer, someone who can take a plain drawn out graphic or cartoon, but it's the layers that they're adding to it. It's the uniqueness that brings out the color, the way that they can probably add some gradients to it, and the way if they want to animate that same basic start that they had, but they've transitioned it into now it's a video. So it's really about what is it that your ultimate goal is, and then taking that platform to allow it to transition and transform into what you need it to do. Now, my only beef with a lot of these .coms, even WordPress.com, you're in someone else's sandbox. So you're playing in someone else's sandbox. They allowed you to carve out a little area with your little pail and your scooper, and you can play over here. But there are rules when you come into this sandbox. And if you break the rules, they kick you out the sandbox. So now you lose everything. But if you can carve out your own sandbox somewhere else,
David has to
and
jump.
oh,
Thanks for being here, David.
thank
Thanks,
you,
Dave.
David. If you can just carve out your own sandbox and then build accordingly, but you're building based on what you need, you have a little more freedom to do that. So it's just what can that platform allow you to do? And then you can make your decision where should you be at the moment. Because even if you start at Wix, if you start at Squarespace, you don't have to stay there. You just need to now plan on making that jump to something more customized and more meant for you and your growth.
Yeah. I I I know there's probably businesses that may not even need a website. However, what I go back to, and I had a conversation about this earlier today, was own the real estate.
Hmm.
And when you're on somebody else's platform, you're not taking ownership of the real estate. So
Exactly.
that's kind of the way I look at it. And even if it's a simple site, it doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be complex. It does have to reflect your brand, your identity, and what you want people to do. So
Hmm.
it's
And
important.
not every business is worth branding. Maybe this is just an idea you want to play around with.
And
So
maybe
you
it's
don't
an
need to,
experiment. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I love it. I love it. I wanted to make sure that Gabe got an answer on that. So, and Chris Stone, thank you so much for showing up, brother. Love the conversation. Be open to change and transition.
Yes.
Absolutely. Elizabeth says, hi, everyone. Greetings from Santiago de Chile. Thank you so
Ooh.
much for being here. I love
Yes.
that you're here. See, this is the thing that's really, really great. I was just in Baltimore and loved my burger cookies.
What are those?
That
Yeah,
sounds fascinating.
they do
Matt, we're
sounds
going to have to
good.
talk about that. I got Matt coming on the show up here coming up. A
Nice.
great tech
Awesome.
guy. Deals in IT. He's out of Florida, so he's really a phenomenal technician and personality. So check out the show.
Yes, yes.
So Carl, are
Yes, sir.
you? I know that we could probably nerd out here for a while, but I want to make sure that we don't exclude you from the conversation. So I want to make
Yeah,
sure
man. I'm enjoying it, man. I'm actually joining Nerd Academy, working with Charlene, man. So, I figured out how to make a landing page. I figured out how to make
Yes, you
PDFs,
did.
downloadables. Oh man, that's right there is a stack of information that I'm learning from the architect there. So,
yeah.
I can tell you a few things about a website. I built a couple.
Uh-huh.
Not proud of them, and I'll put them to rest. I'll put them to rest in the
Be
pirates.
proud, Carl, that you built them. That's the
I-
thing. That's the thing.
yeah, I did.
It's a
I
start.
began, yes, I began with a GoDaddy, and then I thought I graduated, and I went to a web. I think I did the Webix or something like that, and it
Uh-huh.
was just too much work for me. And then I got Squarespace, and I thought I was doing something because kind of like put some pretty pictures and had
Mhm.
some nice little fonts and nice little elegance on there. You know what I mean? And ran across Charlene, and she told me, "Were you a photographer?" She was like, "She's like, "What are you, what are you doing?"
What
Like,
is your site trying to tell
yeah, I
me?
was like, "What
And
is
I
this like telling me?" And I was like,
yeah,
"It's telling you that I got an eye for art." She's
yeah.
like, "But you're not an art salesman, and you're not a painter." So those kind of things went out the way. But yeah,
Well,
it's
full transparency, Carl.
mhm.
I suffer from uh professional squirrel hunter. You know, it's like, okay, I'm involved in a lot of different things. And what happens to me is I put up a site that doesn't have clarity. It's not clear what people need to do and how they need to hire me to do something. And
Yeah, I did
so
that too, Russ.
the plumber's sink always leaks, you know, the
Oh,
cobbler's shoes, you know, it's the same old story. And I know that connecting with people like Charlene, I can change my evil ways.
Yeah.
yeah, it's an awesome thing, man. I built a site, and it kind of remind me of the old Cosby Show when Bill was working on the doorbell, and he played with that, and then the water came on in the sink in the kitchen. So I have no idea how those things became connected, but that's pretty much how my website was. And we went through an overhaul, man, and it was really more clarity. And actually, in essence of doing that, working with someone else, having that as your own real estate and those things all mean so much. But Charlene is definitely right. Once I figured out the strategy part of that, the picture became so much clearer, because a lot of times we want to put up a bunch of mumbo jumbo, and we don't think it's that, right? I'm a writer.
It's clear in my mind because I wrote it.
Yeah. Oh man, absolutely. We
Yes,
go through this
to
all
you.
the time. And
The pickle can't read the label.
To you.
Inside the jar, you can't read the label.
That's our response, Russ. That's our response all the time.
So Gabe asks, what are the plans in 2022 for you two?
Oh, wow.
What kind of shenanigans we're going to see in 2022?
The shenanigans are about to get real.
Yeah, we defied the shenanigans.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, definitely for our show, we're stepping it up a notch. We've changed like a lot of things in the back end. We're going to do some panels in 2022. So we want to have group discussions live on the show, because we've met so many dynamic people. So I think it's just easier to get everybody in on one show and just have that conversation full out. And I can't wait for that. And for me, I'm putting it out there for quarter 2. I'm working on my new book. So I'm going to have that written and published for quarter 2. I know I've done it before. I know it can happen. I just need to sit myself down. and I've
Should we be accountability partners, Carl?
Yes.
Oh man,
send her a text every week.
So you guys
text, man. We text, telegram, call, man. I'll tell you, if she don't have it out
quarter 2 today.
If it ain't on Amazon, if it's not on Amazon, she gonna be in trouble. I'm gonna tell you right now.
So between Carl and I, we've also dived into the course creation. So we're excited to help more people go beyond just the one-on-one. So that's going to be another awesome thing to see flourish in 2022. But I don't want to speak for Carl. I know Carl got a whole bunch of symposiums and stuff you got lined up.
Carl, tell us a story. What kind of shenanigans?
Shenanigans we're getting rid of. I'm definitely on the straight and narrow for 2022. 2022, I'll be looking to start 3L. Third year of law school, so I'll be looking forward to that. So I just want to say props up with that. With all of these shenanigans, I've been able to actually study and get good grades. That's phenomenal for me. But the most important thing that we're really pressing towards with this show, I'm really excited about what we're going to do in 2022. And of course, I got my course. I just got a curriculum writer to finalize my course, and there's some things in there that she's brought a lot of attention to that I had no idea. And after that, she got off of that with all the information. She said this is book worthy as well. So I don't know. I don't have a quarter when that'll be coming on. We're going to still talk about that, but got the course and also got a vulnerability challenge coming out. I'm going to put that to the grind. It's a 30-day, 4-week challenge where I got some step programs and some exercises that I'm going to be challenging people to do on that as well. I've been wanting to get that together for a while, have the information too, but I didn't know how to put it together. But Charlene's really walked me through like what that looked like. What are you asking people to do and the finance of that? Because a lot of times you can have ideas, and I know I'm a think tank, so I can bring your idea, I can put it together, I visionary see it, but I've always felt lacking in the logistics of, well, how do I do this? And I think this is what really pairs us up as a great duo, because I just come out with a bunch of ideas and she kind of like grabbed that and like builds it, just like she does the website. And then we become with a finished product. And then I think, well, me and Charlene, to be honest, I think we got a lot more collaborations to go because I'm not finished yet.
Yep. And the merch is coming soon.
Oh yeah, I forgot we got merchandise coming too. Real talk. And the show is phenomenal. We got many people coming on. We got a couple of 100,000 followers on. Not that we into the numbers, but we're trying to broaden the network and the followers of people that we're trying to impact, because that was the reason that Real Talk was began. We just want to have real conversations with real people doing what I say, ordinary people doing extraordinary things. And
Love it.
Yeah.
It's interesting to me that how LinkedIn has evolved. And when you're talking earlier about your 40 takes and on your phone, when I first started live streaming on LinkedIn, I would turn my phone, horizontal mode,
Okay.
and then it would upload upside down.
Oh,
And I got
wow.
quite a bit of visibility because it would show up upside down. And that's kind of how things have evolved, and I learned things. And so in 2022, I'm really putting a lot of energy into the Pirate Syndicate. And the Pirate Syndicate has courses already. You can go out there and learn something new. And when people ask me questions, I would always just create a little video and send it to them and not do anything with it. And so now I'm actually taking that information, putting it in a course, loading it up on the Pirate Syndicate so other people can, when somebody asks me a question, I can just send them to the course. And so it's super simple. And I'm going to have paid courses as well. And, I teach on a lot of different subjects. And the reality is courses allow us to expand and basically clone who we are, because rather than teaching it one-on-one, we can teach it one-to-many, and that information lives on and continues to grow. And as we develop and improve that curriculum, we can actually, get paid for that. And it's really a valuable tool that it's an asset. So that's really important and key. And also training producers, people that want to produce shows. Because there's people that want to have shows and there are people that want to produce shows. And so the Pirate Syndicate supports people that want their shows done for them. And then the Pirate Syndicate and the courses teach producers how to produce shows for other people.
Nice.
So it's a great way of getting involved in the community, continuing to evolve in the community. And Gabe and I have talked about doing, some work together on that end of the spectrum. And also there's, I think, a huge opportunity and upside for creators like us that are creating courses to actually, think and consider about what certification might look like. So that's going to be key. That's going to be key to the thing. So, and Gabe says, I'm actually developing courses to add to the Pirate Syndicate and build a great tool for live stream education. Absolutely. And so same things take place. It's like we're all coming together for this subject, this topic, and building and growing together. It's not a scarcity mindset. It's abundance mindset. And there's a lot more than we can share and support in the future. So 2022 is going to be huge.
And tap on that, and to tap on that 2022 to talk about what Gabe said. I told Charlene. Actually, I think I first mentioned this to Charlene about maybe September or October. Might be a little bit earlier than that, but I talk about 2022 is going to be the year of collaboration. And we're going to have a lot of people collaborating, and it's not going to be the rich and famous and those the haves and the haves not, but it's just going to be ordinary people with extraordinary skills. And we're going to be bringing stuff together that's going to benefit and impact just a normal person. Like, it's not going to be that I can't access this anymore. I think we've come past that time, even with just the generosity of time and development of what you guys are producing, you, Gabe, and there's so many more that I don't even know yet. That is producing these shows, Travis Laxner. I mean, they're putting together these kind of communities that people are willing to invest in others to bring others forward. And that's what I mean by the spirit of collaboration. It's not going to be so much as saying like what you can give me, what I can give you. It's going to be like, what can we produce together?
Yeah. What creative aspects can we create together?
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because I think ultimately a lot of people really appreciate the fact that the creative process, you can create something from nothing nowadays. You can pick up a phone and create a podcast. You can, pick up a camera and create a vlog. You could, be a photographer, even if you're not a photographer and you have a site that looks like one.
Come on, Russ.
Yes.
Bring it back, Carl.
I had pretty pictures, Russ. I had pretty pictures, man.
Oh, I have to go back in the Wayback Machine and check those out.
I deleted that, Russ. I deleted that.
The internet never forgets.
The internet.
Russ probably knows how to go pick it back up. I'll know.
The reality is, I just thrive in this environment of creativity, and doing a show like this and having conversations with people like you, it's just exciting to think about the opportunities and the possibilities, and it's just really it's just really exciting to watch it grow and continue to see it evolve.
Yes.
So I want to know, you guys talk about vulnerability too.
Mhm.
You know, there's something about 2022 that I feel is going to be, you know, in order for us to collaborate and connect and make sure that we're working together, I think people are going to have to let their guard down to really understand
Absolutely.
where I am
Mhm.
right now with what I have and what I could bring to the table. Because
Mhm.
a lot of people, they feel, you know, they don't have the skills, you know, imposter syndrome, and they might have, you know, a little bit of identity crisis, or they don't want to show up as being the person that doesn't have something. And
Right.
so I think we really need to work and continue to work on getting rid of that stigma and that presence that we have to put up a shield and say, you know, I'm struggling right now. The struggle bus is real. You know, the tank is full. I'm running down the road. And so we can help each other rather than criticize or be critical of each other. So I think
And I
it's
think
also important.
we need to give each other, like I always say, give us this grace and the space to mess up,
Mm,
because we've been hard on each other. We've been pretending to be perfect for decades.
Yeah.
People have not really honed in and gone hard about being vulnerable
yeah.
until the pandemic. That's when everybody had to stay home, that we've had major societal issues come back to the surface. So
Mhm.
everybody started to get to have major breakdowns in their homes. They started to have to be forced to look at their lives, and you're looking at death sometimes in the eye, and you're being forced to really say to yourself, "What have I been doing all this time?" So
Yeah.
no more running from your issues. You were forced to face them. So we have to give ourselves the time to learn how to be vulnerable, because we were shamed at one time of being vulnerable, because vulnerability, as Carl always says, used to be and still is considered a weakness.
Yeah.
And it's also, how are you being vulnerable? It's
Yes.
not, vulnerability does not always have to be you crying on TV or crying on a camera. It's
No.
really you letting people in, you saying to others, "This is where I started. I'm not perfect. If you see me now, it's been years of working. It's been
Yes.
years of me in the background. Just because I'm on in the spotlight now doesn't mean I've always been here." So it's really a time for us to understand this is going to take some time, and it's not you're not, the world is not going to turn vulnerable and accept all of this
No.
in overnight. So
No.
it's going to take time.
And the push is the time. I'm garnering somewhat success in talking about it and spreading it and changing the narrative. And I've gotten a lot of people on board, and a lot of people has taken note of that. But it's also something I've been talking about for 25 years of working in corporate. So this is not nothing that
It's not a new thing for you.
Yeah, it's
Right.
not new. I
Dang, I
actually
thought
got.
it was yesterday. You just started this thing.
Oh
Oh.
man, I wish it was yesterday and it evolved this quickly, right? But then again, I don't, because I don't take away all of the challenges and all of the hard knocks that I took. I mean, I being
Hmm.
disdained at places of employment because I wanted to see culture be a little more vulnerable with leadership, like and voicing some of those things and being the outcast at office parties and whatnot. I mean, I went through a lot of things, segregation, and it had nothing to do with skin color. It was just a simple fact I was talking against what culture was already presenting, and I didn't
Right.
like those kind of things. And I've always spoke upon those things for the fairness of people that suffered in silence and just did jobs because they had
Yeah.
nowhere to go. They needed their paycheck, and they put up with the foolishness of leaders. And when the pandemic come, I was, and don't take this wrong, but I was happy. And when I say happy, take it in the context that I'm saying it. I was happy because it was going to present to the face of people what I've been saying the whole time. You're dealing with
Hmm.
mental health. You're struggling with what you're
Yeah.
doing. You're trying to be busy. You're trying to be soccer mom, eating Chick-fil-A in the car from practice to practice, spending 60 or 70 hours at the job, trying to do the promotion, bottom lines, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everything was going at that. And I said, now it's going to have to face it. That's what the happiness was within me, not what the situations that arose, but what happened. It came, and I always say that God pushed the reset button. Because now it's an opportunity for you to reprioritize. And that's what I did for the pandemic. Reprioritize. And I said, okay, well, what's important, Carl? What's important is really the law school important. Is that really what you wanted? Or would you wanted that vulnerability piece that you talked about for so many years when people just disdained you in the fact of that? I said, this is opportunity. So now what did LinkedIn do? LinkedIn opened the door for those people to make posts about their mental health, for those people to make posts about how they're dealing with cancer, for them people that say, now I'm working from home with my child on my lap and I'm doing a Zoom call for work and I can't remember 5th grade math, so I don't know how to help them in their own school. I mean, we brought about all the things of what life is about, right? So now we have to face that, and now so many people are getting help from that, and it's a wonderful thing, man. I'm in a vulnerability paradise right now.
It's fascinating. I was listening to you as we're doing this, and the reality is that doors close and doors open.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I've been in the corporate orphanage more than I'd like to count. You know,
He said orphanage.
Mergers and acquisitions,
oh man,
bankruptcies, you know, all of these things. I've experienced them all. And the reality is that you never lose your experience of that journey in that company. And you can always take that. It's transferable skills, experience, lessons learned, what to do, what not to do, how you feel about it. And I think a lot of people are realizing, heck, I don't have to show up and take abuse from this workplace. I don't have to show up and have to, leave my kids at home and, and fill in the blanks, whatever it happens to be. And there's a lot of people that have made decisions that they realize that this can be different. This is different. And I'm going to make a different choice because now is the time to make the choice.
Yeah. And I think a lot of businesses got nervous. I think they're still nervous. They're
still nervous. Yeah.
They're scrambling right now because a lot of employees, they may not have another option, but they knew one option that they were going to take was not returning to an environment that was unhealthy. And a lot of these jobs, these corporate jobs, are unhealthy relationships. They're abusive. They're abusive in the sense they don't allow you to live a healthy life. You're strapped at a desk most people are strapped at a desk for the 9 to 5, or they're doing more than 9 to 5. They're coming in early, and you have to account for the times that people have to travel to these offices. It's horrendous, the type of life you're living, especially if you have a family. You barely see your kids growing up. So a lot of, when the pandemic hit, a lot of parents were like, do I want to go back to that? I don't think so.
Nah, I don't think so.
Right? Yeah. So let me start my Etsy stop. I may not make the 6 figures, but I got my Etsy shop and I'm home. And so it's really about what's valuable to you.
Yeah. And time is the only commodity that we can't replace. You can replace money, you can replace jobs, you can replace all of these other things, the stuff. You cannot replace the time. And that time, is always going to be gone. And it's really fascinating to me that, I heard a statistic that's scary. It's scary to me because 50% of the people in the workforce in the trades industry are going to be retiring or retirement age in the next decade. So let that sink in for a minute. So we take all of the people, doing air conditioning, plumbers, carpenters, electricians, all of these people that are getting to the point where they're ready to exit the workforce. And there's a lot of people that have, college degrees that are not in the trades.
And they didn't do apprenticeships, so no one.
They didn't do apprenticeships,
no one to pass the torch to. So,
and it's really kind of it's going to be interesting to see how it rolls out and how it evolves with people making decisions, because people in the trades can make great money. It's like, and you don't necessarily have to have a college degree for it. And that's where, going back full circle, on LinkedIn, start talking to some people, start reaching out, finding out what you're interested in, because just because you're reset right now doesn't mean that you won't make a different decision in 2022. Find out find out what you enjoy. If it's a toxic workplace or an unfriendly environment, or you just don't like the work, find something that you enjoy doing and go move towards that goal, because there's lots of opportunities coming up, and I don't see anything slowing down.
I don't either, Russ. I don't either.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's definitely that. And we're looking at it, and you saying that, and that's really like sinking in. I'm looking at, all you homeowners out there, right?
Yeah.
You need all of these kind of people to help your homes when it gets hot. The AC need redoing, the heat needs redoing. Now it's wintertime. I mean, that windows installed, like when you start thinking about all those things, and you can just see the crush of what it's making. So many places. I'm in New Jersey. It's just so many places they went back all the way back to, I remember when I was in high school, when you used to actually go past the stores and see the help wanteds in the windows. I'm going past strip malls that used to be thriving and bustling.
Yeah.
Now they're even closing early. Like they used to stay open 8 or 9. Now they close like 5 or 6 because they have nobody there, and they got windows in the window sills of just about everywhere now, hiring, and they want to make it sound like, oh man, these people, they was getting this money and nobody wants to go back to work. Man, I'm talking to a lot of people every day. Say they can go to work if they want to. They don't want to go back to where they were. And I think a lot of people are making a difference. They're making their lives better. They're changing their direction. They're reprioritized. A lot of people, they've developed this work from home, and they're more productive. So that, people don't even want to go back to the jobs, just trying to force them back. So now they're in negotiations of like, okay, well, I'll go to work 1 day a week and I'm work from home 4. Like, my wife just negotiated that kind of thing. She's like, the lady was like, I want you to come 3. She said no. So my wife said, okay, I'll work from home, and if you don't want me to work from home, I'll just go someplace else. And the lady called her yesterday and said, okay, well, we'll just do this and we'll revisit it in January 2020. And my wife got off the phone and told me, yeah, in January 2020, I'm not revisiting anything. I'm gonna say I want to work from home, and if they don't want me, I'm gonna keep going. So this is how people are feeling, and it has nothing to do with anything else. It's just that people are tired. And they were tired of the way that they were. They were tired of how toxic relationships at work were. And they had all of these people that were leading them to the barren lands. So,
Nina says it's really hard for those of us who do need the employees.
And I definitely agree with you. And I'm
absolutely
definitely agree with you. And I think that's all that should be a light bulb. And a lot of times when we're in groups,
well, it needs to be a wake-up call.
Yeah, one suffer, we all suffer. Like, because companies have took advantage of the employee in the workforce for such a long time. Now the script is flipped. So it's just like if you wrestling, you're on the mat. When you got somebody over and you're on top now, you don't look to be back on the back. And sometimes people get hurt in the crossfire.
Yeah. It's interesting because even within a company, the scope of being in a company, one of my favorite places to work for was in the advertising industry and radio, television, Seattle Sonics when they were in Seattle, worked for that organization. And I probably had 5 different positions within my tenure at that company.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I was an entrepreneur. I was creating positions for myself that hadn't been created yet. And so I was building that and creating my skills and improving my skills and going out and learning things that nobody asked me to do. And so the opportunities showed up because I showed up. And I think right now we're in that phase of people have to decide how they're going to show up, what they're going to learn. And because there's no need to be a victim right now. No. There's plenty of opportunities, and the opportunities are going to show up. So if you want a skill, you want to learn it, YouTube is full of ways to learn new skills that will pay good money, all day long.
Or keep you afloat. I learned how to change the piping on the toilet. So I'll tell you
Did you use your doorbell?
No, I didn't. No, I did save myself $600 from that plumber coming out though. So
You
Oh.
see, we'll revisit you in a couple of months.
I'm going. I'm going to plug. I'm going some trades going on, Russ. I'm getting some.
I
trades
grew up
going.
in commercial construction, and I know exactly what you had to go through in order to
Yeah,
do
man.
that.
He called. He called me out. He's talking about 150 to come check it out, and then
Yeah,
from
just
there
to
it
look
goes
at it.
up. I'm
Yeah.
like
But
150.
that's what I'm saying is
We a
the
FaceTime call.
there's
I got the pipe right here.
there's huge people. There's a huge opportunity for people to be in the trades, and it's like
Mhm.
nobody's talking about it. Nobody's putting any emphasis on it. But Nina was saying the problem with everybody wants the same service but half the help.
True.
Super hard to do. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I agree. A lot of
I
industries need to
definitely agree
change
with
how
you
they
because
treat their employees.
Yeah.
it's
Absolutely.
fast
I mean-
food. It's no more fast food. I went to get some fast food the other day. I think I was in there about a half hour. So it's no more fast food, and I definitely agree with that. And I'm a patient guy, like because I understand what's going on. I ran 3 Chick-fil-A's at one time, so I understand the madness of that. So it definitely you go in there, and people attitudes haven't changed about not getting stuff on a timely manner, and
Sure.
it is a big thing for you guys that's in those service fields that you're really taking
It's
the
tough.
brunt. You're taking the
It's
brunt of what's
tough.
going on right now, and I feel
Well-
for you. I really do.
Well, and everybody's used to that instant gratification. So
Oh yeah.
it's like, I got Amazon Prime now. I can't. When is it? Why is it not here?
Yeah. But
It's
not
only
enough
midnight.
they did that.
Why isn't it here?
Why isn't it here yet? Amazon Prime and don't let it be a 2-day thing and it don't come in 2 days. I'm on the phone. You told me I'm paying extra for 2 days. You told me 2 days. Next day delivery, 2 days.
So share some words of wisdom before we wrap it up tonight, Carl. What do you want to leave the community with tonight? So
love each other. Be vulnerable. It's worth it. It's worth it.
Amen. Charlene?
Give each other that space to mess up. Give them the direction. And if they are not paying attention, you might have to pull them aside and call them out.
Oh wow! I feel so kind of way about that right there, Russ. I got a
I
cold
didn't say
chill.
publicly. I didn't say publicly.
You just did publicly.
Well, I'm always an advocate for helping more people help more people.
Yes.
And if we can train people, teach people, support people along their journey, it's just a much better community we live in. And as you know, always kindness is cool. Smiles are free.
I like that, Russ. I like that.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
I want
I
you
like
to enjoy the day. Thank you both for being here. I really appreciate it.
Oh man, thank you, man.
Thank you for having us.
Man.
And everyone, if you're not connected, you need to get connected. Just say, I'm a pirate. I want to connect with some more pirates, and let's build this community up. Pirates do things a little differently. We're going out there making things happen, making it matter.
Yes.
So go live stream, shout it out, make sure you're okay. And also, I'm going to be on winject.com at noon tomorrow, Mountain Standard Time, with Chris Ross. We're going to be talking about some of the things that are going on over there. And 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, I've got a show going on as well. So let's make sure that we catch up with you tomorrow.
Excellent. We got a show tomorrow at 10 a.m. Real Talk. Carl and Charlene, come to my page tomorrow and come and check us out. It's at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
So it's the same time.
Same time. You see, you got the same time.
No, I'm only 2 hours difference now.
Russ, I got so good now, right? I was doing 3 shows and I was doing 2 shows. I was watching 2 shows and in my show. So I'm kind of like opened up windows and I go in and tag in between our show. Man, I mean, good.
Now I know. I'm going to call you out.
The attraction of distraction, right?
So if I'm slow answering the question, I'll probably answer somebody else in another show. Hey, I show up. That's all I can say.
Well, thank you so much.
Thanks,
and
Russ.
again, everyone, gratitude for your attendance, your attention. And if you like or found value in this show, just share it with somebody that cares. And also subscribe to the channel and all this social shenanigans that need to happen for us to be visible out there. So, I'm not Amazon Prime, so I can't deliver it every day. It'll be fun. Thank you so much, Carl.
Thank
Charlene.
you, Russ. I
Enjoy the
appreciate you,
day.
man. I appreciate you,
So
man.
much.
Love you guys.
Love you too, man.
Love
Thanks
you.
for having us, man.
All right.
Take care. Thank you for joining the Pirate Broadcast. If you found this content valuable, please like, comment, and share it across your social media channels. I would love the opportunity to help others grow in their business. The Pirate Syndicate is a platform where you show up, we produce the show. It's that easy. If you want to be seen, be heard, and be talked about, join